I'm Neil Hunt, I'm the Digital Content Lead for TV Connect, and I'm here with Ovum Senior Analyst Tony Gunnarsson. Thanks for joining us, Tony.
Thank you.
So, your specialism is SVOD, and of course there are no kind of bigger giants in that market than Amazon and Netflix. Now, both of them have kind of gone global recently, but there's some interesting things happening at Amazon. Can you talk me through those a little bit?
Right, so yeah, that's correct. So Amazon has followed Netflix in expanding to a truly global market. Up until now, Amazon Video was only available in 5 markets around the world, so UK, US, and it's been used to sell Amazon Prime subscriptions. What Amazon has done now is a change of strategy where they've released their SVOD platform concentrating on its original series, and that's available outside of a Prime or even outside of our Amazon retail environment. So it's followed largely what Netflix has done. It's around 200 markets, excluding North Korea, China, and a few more markets. So it's a monthly subscription plan, $2.99 I believe it is, dollars for Amazon. I think the actual title is Prime Video, not Amazon Video. So it's Prime Video for $2.99, and it's a much slimmer catalog of series, largely Amazon Studio content, and some third-party content as well.
Now, we've seen some kind of barriers to entry for Netflix in some Eastern European markets and in Asia with the price point that they've got. Is this Amazon's attempt to kind of be more popular and gain ground in those markets?
So I think, yeah, to some extent. So Amazon, firstly, it's going global, is sort of putting the groundwork out early. Clearly, the first few years we expect Amazon to be focusing on its Amazon Prime markets, like we're talking France and Italy and Canada, markets where video hasn't been part of the offering. So we think they're going to concentrate on building the Amazon Prime markets, whilst on a longer, on the longer term, it's going to be Asian markets. It's going to be India is of course a big one. I would exclude that from the argument I'm making now, but. So underdeveloped OTT markets, which are just starting to pick up following Netflix launch, Amazon is now entering that as well. So, and it's positioning itself as a complementary service to Netflix, cheaper price now than Netflix, but both Amazon and Netflix has invested heavily into producing their original series, and within the next 6 to 12 months, Amazon is going to launch a whole range of new series, which is going to fatten up the service, and around the same time it's going to increase its price for the monthly SVOD proposition to similar price to Netflix, and that's where we expect to see some more competitive moves from both players. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you mentioned content. Obviously, the original Amazon original series and Netflix original series are kind of where they're creating their USP. But as they globalise, obviously Amazon's taken a bit of a different tactic to Netflix.
So, yeah, actually, it's a little bit of a misnomer because Netflix is doing a lot of local content. A lot of it that we don't tend to hear about so much. If you scroll deep into your Netflix surveys and you go deep into Netflix original catalog, you will find unheard of Spanish language series that they have produced and launched for Latin American markets, right? Which presumably have some sort of level of success there, but we don't tend to get them up front on the service here in the UK or in Europe. But yes, Amazon has gone in hard to invest in local content, particularly in Asia. Around India is the big market, and this goes back to the fact that what I said about Prime subscription. So Prime was launched in India just before it's announced that it's extending video there. So it goes hand in hand with building the Prime offer of free postage to its retail business and a sort of a whole solution package type of thing.
So we're seeing, the players like Virgin starting to bundle Netflix in with their own subscription. How does Netflix and Amazon? I mean, on the one hand, it's definitely a good thing because they get more eyeballs. But how does Netflix and Amazon kind of stay ahead when you see massive investment in original content from the likes of Fox a little bit with Westworld, and now being bundled in as a service with everything else? How do they carry on differentiating?
Well, so I mean, look, the key driver for Netflix continues to be the fact that for consumers all over the world, whether they're in Japan or Argentina, UK, or even the US or Sweden for that matter, Netflix is associated with watching TV on the internet or watching movies on the internet. That's in the name, Netflix, net movies. And it's the way I compare it to many contacts is kind of like Blockbuster. It's, Blockbuster was home video, in the 80s, and the whole home video industry was built around video rentals, and Blockbuster was the biggest provider. So it's kind of similar, Netflix for streaming. And, it's on workplaces and schools all over the world, again, Asia, Americas and Europe and beyond. People are talking about, did you see OA last night? Did you see, or not last night, but it's kind of become this way of, watching video and TV. Netflix is synonymous with that. So that is really the key driver for these services. Of course, Netflix is not everything when it comes to streaming. There are multiple services, and at Ovum we track Asphalt services. And it's quite interesting to see that while yes, Netflix continues to dominate virtually every market in the world, with some variation. There's some markets where it's not got there yet, it's only been around for a year, but it's heading in that direction. So we're looking at the Netflix world as far as streaming, but beyond Netflix, there are practically one or two local, national or regional strong players that are competing with Netflix, maintaining quite sizable market shares. And so the game is not over, even if Netflix dominates. And of course, bear in mind that Asphalt subscribers tend to take out more than one subscription. I got 3, so yeah.
Well, there's an interesting point you make there. I was pondering this last week myself, is weighing up just how much SVOD you could get versus a Sky Entertainment package. Is this something that, obviously Sky's launched Now TV as its own kind of standalone there, and the unique part of that is being able to buy a one-off program or a channel for a day. Is that the way we'll eventually see Sky going, and that kind of big broadcast with big fat bundles?
Well, so, yeah, you're right. Taking my own household as an example, we don't buy a pay TV package or a multiplay service, but if you add up everything we buy, we're probably spending as much money as if we were to take out a multiplay offer. But Now TV, for example, wasn't designed to allow Sky subscribers to cancel Sky and go online. And this whole idea of cutting the cord, cable cord cutting, we think has been quite overstated. Nowhere in the world is there evidence of consumers leaving, the more advanced premium packages and going for OTT or slim alternatives. There is some evidence of that. Younger demographics are more likely to head towards one than the other, but it's simply not the causation of decline and growth isn't. There's not necessarily a direct correlation between it, and actually, Sky subscribers are highly likely to be Netflix subscribers again. So this, we're in a position. Clearly, we're in a long term. It's a transition period. It's not inconceivable to say, when our children, reaches middle age, that everything will be, streaming, and there won't be this legacy type pay TV, cable, distribution and so on. But it's far ahead in the future. Until then, in the transition period, we see it's great time to be consumer. There's loads of choice, and those that can afford it do take up all sorts of complementary services and packages, we're starting to see some stabilization in the market in terms of pay TV. It's reaching a plateau, not necessarily declining, but reaching a plateau. Growth is coming from SVOD services and similar. It's a very fascinating time for the industry.
Just briefly, kind of one last question. There's a massive investment in original content at the moment, and there are some analyst houses, I'm not sure if yourself included, but talking about there being a content bubble.
Yep.
Is this something that we should be worried about? Is there suddenly going to be a collapse of original content, or is it sustainable?
I think beyond the question whether it's economically sustainable in terms of the average cost for new subscriber uptake versus huge spending on content production that both Amazon and Netflix are doing. Clearly, those companies are banking that as they expand internationally, as more and more people subscribe to the services in Asia and Africa even and beyond, they're going to have more and more money to sustain that. That's the long-term view that they're doing. Beyond that argument, which is, it's banking against the future and it's heading that way, so it seems a relatively safe investment, perhaps. I think, yes, there is an argument that is like a golden age of TV. Not just, I don't think this is a discussion that should be between OTT and pay TV. Pay TV guys like HBO and so on, they're doing wonderful TV series, like really great stuff. And I think it's probably reaching a peak. And I don't think it's sustainable to make high investment TV series when the market is so fragmented. It's so, not everyone can invest in a Game of Thrones or so on. But I don't think we're going to see original content for OTT services disappear. The big guys are definitely going to continue doing it because that's the way to differentiate. That's the way to reduce churn. You can only watch certain pieces of series through Netflix by being a subscriber, and if they continue rolling them out, you will stay a subscriber. So, I think overall the number of amazing big investment TV series will probably drop a little bit as we go forward.
Okay, grand. Tony, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure.